Second attempt here, episode 1. I am Captain Paul. This will be on the locker room. And I brought in a good friend of mine. We've been friends for years now. Chief, why don't you introduce yourself there?
Hey, how you doing, folks? This is Chief, longtime Avalanche fan, starting to finally assuage the hurt of the New York Rangers of what they did to me 25 years ago. And
Yeah.
yeah, you know,
So we'll be talking about pretty much all hockey around the NHL, maybe even some international play if it really kind of comes on our radar here. And we'll try to bring this weekly when we possibly can. But let's talk about a big acquisition that your team made about what was it, about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago,
yeah, about that.
and about trading for Mackenzie Blackwood. What have you thought about him thus far? And has he
Um,
impressed you? Do you view him as an upgrade?
yes. Well, I do not know what happened to Georgia between last year and this year. Just the just fell off the wagon. I mean, I don't know what happened to him. Like last year, he was one of the lead leaguers and league leaders. Oh my goodness, it's English, kids. League leaders and wins, and then all of a sudden, it's just like he's invisible now.
Yeah. It's Georgiev to me is one of these goaltenders that he was the backup for Shesterkin. He looked really really good in that backup role. Besides that last year where he kind of struggled in New York, but his first year in Colorado he did really well, and I thought like, okay, maybe this is a guy that could be a good starter for the Avalanche for a long time. But that just didn't turn out to be the case. Last couple of years there, it's been a
I know.
struggle. Both years a sub 900 save percentage.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny. We talked about the trade, obviously, before this show. And to me, I thought it was such a brilliant trade to get Blackwood. Because if people do recall, he was very highly looked at the New Jersey Devils system. And when he was even a starter there for the
hmm
Devils for a bit, until he got hurt. And when he got hurt, kind of got back with the Devils, wasn't really able to find his footing there. He kind of struggled. He goes to San Jose, and considering the team in San Jose, I thought he did pretty respectable there. Yeah, it was like a sub 900 save percentage, but the San Jose Sharks were a terrible, terrible team last year. And right now, still not a great team,
No.
even though they got some youth in the right direction. Blackwood has looked really good in an Avs sweater.
Yeah,
Do you feel far more confident about the Avalanche future going forward
I do.
with him in net?
I 100% do. Still not overly enthused by the Wedgwood trade for that
Right.
gave up Bannon for Wedgwood, but I mean, I guess they just wanted to clean house, and I'm not. My name's not Chris McFarland, so I'm not making that decision.
Right.
But yeah, overall, I can't really complain. Not at all. Especially after the way the season started for our guys, that was just terrifying.
Right.
Um, just yeah, kind of over the moon right now. Couldn't have hoped
Mm.
for much better. Truth be told.
Yeah, I think Blackwood has shown the ability to be a top 10, top 15 type goaltender in the league. He's very good athletic. He's very good laterally, side to side. He has the ability to make these spectacular saves, which that is a difficult skill,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you can have a solid backup that can just make the routine saves, but he's one of these goalies that can make the borderline ridiculous save.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the right situation, which I think the Avalanche is, I think the Avalanche are. They're a great team. They just needed a goaltender, and now my whole view has changed on the Avs. I still think they got to play a little bit better defense. I think they got to tighten up some things, but they have all the talent. Like you have Nathan McKinnon, Rantanen, Nichushkin is kind of back, right? He's back in the
Oh
fold.
yeah, he's
Yep.
he's already got 10 goals. He came back first week or two of December. He's already in double-digit goals.
And you have Cale Makar, Taves. You have so much talent all around the roster. Maybe the bottom pairing you want a little bit more, but who's to say that the Avalanche are even done like adding, right? Maybe they can kind of make a move, and then also when you throw in the Landeskog piece to this.
Yeah, and also the fact that we're also missing Druin. I mean, he's not a huge piece, but Miles Wood. Miles Wood.
Well,
Ross Colton, the one that's on long-term IR.
Well, to be fair though, Druin is people maybe not an important cog in the like needed, but he's still a really nice player to have, and the chemistry he built, and I mean, let's be honest, McKinnon kind of helped save his career.
Yeah.
Druin to me is a very nice player, very solid guy, can play in the middle six, second, third line. Yeah, that's a piece you bring back on a relatively cheap deal. I think the Avs, when they get fully healthy, are going to be in a situation here to be towards the top of the West and be a threat there. Because who in the Central, or even who in the Western Conference would you fear as an Avalanche fan?
You know, the Western Conference overall is kind of weird right now. There's nobody that's really... I mean, Winnipeg had a great start. They're still the best team. They have the best record in the West. And I don't honestly think they're the best team in the West.
And you're going to get some Winnipeg hate. Expand on that.
No, I just, they're one of those teams that has pretty good regular season. And look what happened last year. I mean, they beat the crap out of us first game or two, and then we just steamrolled them for 4 games.
Yeah, no, that was
and I mean,
that was a dominance performance once you guys kind of got going.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, Dallas has been pedestrian. At one point, they weren't even in the playoffs last week.
Yeah.
And so many people had them picked to go to the Cup. I mean, the only teams that really concern me are Vegas, just because of their style of play, solid goaltending. They're not just going to blow you out of the water. They're just going to grind you to death. It's kind of like the mid-'90s Devils playing the neutral zone trap, just mucking everything up and making it hard to do anything.
Well, and it's actually funny because the Knights have kind of come into their own. They're 23-8-3. They're actually only 2 points behind the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah. With
2 games in hand on the record-wise. I think when it comes down to it, Vegas is a team that I will look at as a threat. The Oilers, to me, because of the star power of McDavid, Draisaitl, they're always going to be in that conversation. Do I trust the goaltending? No, but they'll be in that conversation. Minnesota's had a very good year, right? A very, very good year. They have that young, promising D-man in Brock Faber. He's kind of come into his own last year and this year. You
Gustafson's been good in that.
Gustafson, he had a down year last year. This year, he's back to being a very good player.
Yeah.
The West is a weird situation because while Winnipeg is the top team in the Central, they're one of these teams that have to prove it to me that they can do it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because Hellebuyck, one of the best goaltenders in the world, last year did not have a great playoff. He did not look great. To be honest, though, I mean, the Jets players, Kyle Connor's got 47 points. Mark Scheifele's got 42. Morrissey on defense has 33 points. Like, you're having guys have absolutely tremendous years. Like, Velarde has 31 points. Ehlers has 27. Pionk has 26. Perfetti 23. Like, you're having guys with phenomenal years with the Jets. Like, they're going off. That's why they're so dominant and they've played so successfully. To me, it's not really even they were having a good regular season, I believe in them. Like, they got to prove to me in the playoffs, when it matters, Game 7, 7-game series, can they do it? I mean, Connor Hellebuyck, front runner for the Vezina, 927 save percentage at 2.07 goals against average. Connor Hellebuyck makes his backup goaltender's job, Eric Comrie, very easy. He just has to show up and get a paycheck, right? Doesn't have to play.
Yeah.
But
because
it's like they have all this
60 games or so.
Yeah, it's to me, they have all the talent. I do believe in the talent in the room. I'm not too sure how they'll perform in the playoffs yet. I believe they have all the pieces to be, but are they going to be like one of those teams like San Jose, that regular season killer? Mm-hmm. Remember when Joe Thornton, Patrick Marleau regular season killers, but just weren't able to get over the top and get to that
the
Stanley Cup final. You know, that's the question.
Yeah,
So,
when it comes to Winnipeg, I am from Missouri. You got to show me.
Yeah.
You got to show me, and I've seen nothing, because it's like, you know, I'm glad the Jets are back in Winnipeg. You know, I love the whiteouts, that whole atmosphere. I think it's awesome. But it's just, at some point, I mean, they've just got to get past, they got to go over the hump.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even remember the last time where they were in what was it, 8-10 years ago, they were in the Western Conference Final?
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
I'm just guessing.
I'd have to double check.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that right off the top of my head.
No,
but
I don't either.
With the Jets, with this current core, you know, they just got to prove to me that they can do it.
Yeah.
Because all time the Winnipeg Jets, because you had me curious, Winnipeg Jets in the playoffs all time they're 18-35.
Oof. Oof.
That's their whole.
Ouch.
That's their whole playoff history,
Ouch.
right? And you know, obviously there's some years that weren't great, right? But the last time they really did anything of note is second round of the conference finals. So 2017-18.
Yeah, 8 years.
When they lost the Knights.
Yeah.
And then first round exit. So 1, 2. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Because 1 year they didn't even qualify for the playoffs.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been about 7 years. I think that's actually funny. You were pretty spot on that. So 7 years since the Winnipeg Jets really did anything in the playoffs. So this current core has to prove that they can show up. But they have all the nice pieces to do that.
I mean, and they have a solid team that could play a heavy game if need be. You know, it's just like, but they can't. When they get to that point, they just kind of, the wheels fall off. They can't get over the hump.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest problems when a team with the Jets. But to be fair, like I said, all having phenomenal years.
Yeah,
phenomenal years.
Great years. I mean, Hellebuyck is on course for another, you know, Vezina run.
You know, and this is actually a question I'll ask, if Hellebuyck somehow wins the Stanley Cup, is he the greatest U.S.-born goaltender of all time?
He's got a long ways to go. I mean, Quick could be going, what about me?
That's true. That is true. But that was the conversation some people had. Like, if he just wins a cup, he's in that conversation for greatest U.S.-born goaltender of all time. I do think there's a lot more to be done to really kind of have that
But I think he needs another 3 or 4 seasons, you know, not necessarily at the pace he's on now. But I mean, 30 win seasons. He needs about 3 or 4 more of those, and then he wins a cup. He's going to get that. Because how many cups does Quick have? 2.
2 as a starter, and then obviously the 1 as a backup.
Yeah. I think he's got to have about 3 or 4 more years of, you know, 30+ win seasons, at least 2 cups, and then I'll put him in the conversation. But he's got work to do. Which, speaking of goaltending, do you mind if we shift gears? Because you brought up Edmonton earlier. Edmonton's never going to win a cup until they get better goaltending.
I don't disagree. It's funny because you say goaltending. I'm playing goalie in the game, and I've been getting distracted by a conversation. I've lived in a few softballs, looking like Stuart Skinner out there. But I think I actually think the problem with Stuart... This is the problem, actually. It's a weird conversation with Skinner, right? Because when you look at him age-wise, he's not that old for a goaltender.
No.
I think he's 26, 27 maybe.
Yeah.
But I agree, he's just not good enough.
No. I mean...
he's not good enough.
He'd be... I look at him as, like, for, like, a playoff-bound team, he would be a great backup.
Yeah, he's turning 27 this year, on January. So To be like, because when you look at Skinner's stats, they're worse than Pickett's.
Yeah.
Skinner has 2.85 goals against average and 895 save percentage, and again, the defense isn't great with the Oilers, and they've shown the ability to have, when they decide to, they can play good defense, right?
Yeah.
They showed that last year in the playoffs, but you need a little bit more from your goaltenders.
Yeah.
And watching some of the film on Skinner is that he lets in some softballs.
Yeah.
That just shouldn't go in.
Well,
that's kind of the...
You know, and it doesn't help that you have the $9.25 million pylon and, Darnell Nurse.
Dude, the amount of crap I got last year for saying that in my postseason reviews.
I've been saying that for 3 years now. You know that.
Oh. Yeah, I've never been a Darnell Nurse fan. I mean, he's not worth that cap hit. It's ridiculous, that cap hit. I don't know who the heck would ever pay him that much money. Just he never was looked at, in my opinion. Even when he signed that deal, it was like, what? Like, why are we signing him to that amount of money?
Yeah. I'm like, is he putting up, Erik Karlsson, numbers? No, not even close.
No, he's not even a great defender.
No.
That's the fun. Like, usually with that amount of money, and this could be a whole different conversation. How I view the Norris really isn't about the best defenseman, it's just the best offensive D-man.
Mm-hmm.
If he was a lockdown elite defender, at least you could somewhat justify. Like, listen, he doesn't put up points, but he shuts down. But he's not even that.
Yeah, like if he's making McKinnon's life impossibly hard, you know what? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he's fourth on the Oilers team with plus minus. So I guess there's that. I know the plus minus can be an interesting stat. And he's leading their team in penalty minutes, so I mean, there you go. But there is that. Listen, I'm just trying to be fair. I mean, I don't want to just completely shit on him.
I've got my face in my hands because I'm laughing. He's fourth on plus minus.
Hey, I'm just trying to be the nice guy, I guess. But the Oilers will never win a championship with Skinner as their starter.
No. If the Oilers were serious, I think they should have made a bigger play for Ullmark.
Yes.
Ullmark.
I agree.
If they would have somehow signed Ullmark, I legit would be concerned.
Yeah, because then you have the goaltender.
Yeah. And you're really going to be able to weed out. Okay, we have a better goaltender now. Let's see who's really failing on the blue line. Make the moves you need to make there, and then holy crap, they get scary. I mean, not like they're pretty scary as is right now between Draisaitl and Hyman and McDavid and
yeah they got pieces.
The Trojan horse, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Trojan horse. Yeah, I mean they definitely have talent on the Oilers. Skinner to me is a very mid-level goaltender that's probably ideally be a backup. I don't look at him as a starter.
No.
I just don't. I think it would have been far better for them to pursue a guy like Ullmark. But would they have had the cap to make a guy like Ullmark? I mean, because remember, Ullmark got paid also $8.25 million now. Looking at it, the Bruins should have probably paid Ullmark the $8.25 million than Swayman, but that's a whole different conversation.
Do you really want to go down that road?
We can in a second, but to finish up this, I do think that if the Oilers want to be a contender and they want to win a cup, I just think they need an upgraded net. And while some could argue, well, they took the Panthers to the Stanley Cup final, to the brink and all this, and they made it interesting, at the same time, you have superstars like McDavid, Draisaitl, I think a very good young defenseman in Bouchard. I think Ekholm's a very good quality defenseman in his own right as well. There's so much talent there. If they just had a better goaltender, they'd probably be the odds-on favorite to win the cup.
Yeah.
You know?
And the only reason they were in 7 games is because McDavid played like his hair was on fire that entire series. He won the Conn Smythe for crying out loud.
Yeah, no, McDavid was otherworldly. He was brilliant during that Stanley Cup final. He was. Like, he played at such an elite level that...
Yeah.
Because remember, there was some people that were trying to say, like, oh, he's nothing. He doesn't show up in the playoffs, which statistically does never pan out when you actually look at his stats. But he went on a tear in that run. I mean, Draisaitl was kind of a ghost, if I recall.
Yeah.
During the finals, he was a ghost. But I think he was hurt or something.
I think he was hurt. It's really funny how you notice when guys that have like great regular seasons kind of don't show up. It's just like those injuries are, and that entire season have kind of caught up to them.
Yeah. Hockey is a tough sport to play, man. It's very physical. And, it's not like basketball where there's load management. Right?
Don't even get me started.
It's a tough game.
Yeah.
It's very physical. You're colliding with other human beings at like 20 miles per hour. Yeah. Sometimes even faster than that. It's, there's going to be a lot of injuries. So I think for me, I won't hold that against Draisaitl. We all know how fantastic he is. He would be he's a superstar in his own right. He'd be a franchise best player on some organization.
On some other team, yeah.
He's just unfortunately but not unfortunately, but just being honest, he's like Malkin and Crosby. He's the Malkin with Crosby, So
ranting into McKinnon.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just phenomenal players.
Yeah.
So, kind of changing gears just a tiny bit. Let's kind of circle back to that conversation about Ullmark and how he's been on fire, and then let's also talk about Swayman's contract. Both guys got paid $8.25 million in their next contracts, right? Ottawa ended up kind of making a deal. Do you think the Bruins made a mistake going with the younger guy, Swayman?
I kind of do.
Or do you think they made the right decision? So
I kind of think they should have stuck. I think they kind of should have stuck with Ullmark. But like we were talking about earlier, I think Swayman is hurt by the fact that Ullmark's no longer there. Because when Ullmark was there, I think they pushed each other. And the whole steel makes steel, cliche. I think that's exactly what it was. Because both guys great goaltenders. I mean, they have a little bit different, a little varying styles, but I think that having both of them together was a dream scenario for any coach.
Yeah.
Because you have, no matter who you're putting out there, you're giving your team a chance to win. As hokey as that sounds. Like, when you had them both, and you got the little update of who was starting, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, we got a shot. And it didn't even matter if you're playing the Panthers, whatever top tier team you're playing. You knew that any given night, one of those two dudes could stand on his head and keep you in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now that they don't have that anymore, and my girlfriend, who's a Bruins fan, as you all know, would she would probably say, the hug is what's missing. As cheesy as that is. I knew that'd make you laugh. But yeah, I just think the fact that he's not, he's the top dog. He doesn't really have anybody to push him.
Right.
And maybe he's that kind of personality where, hey, he kind of needs that. He needs that, hey, I know this dude is going to go as hard as I am, so I've really got to, step it up. I can't be half-stepping.
The funny part about you saying that, right, is Korpisalo's actually had far better statistics than Swayman.
Yeah.
Right? And, again, it's still not the full season. There's time to be had and all that. I get that.
Yeah.
But it's... Korpisalo's got a 904 save percentage and a 2.42 goals against average. Swayman has an 887 save percentage and a 3.05.
Yeesh.
Now, to me, Swayman they played the Capitals. Bruins played amazing defense and limited, I think, to 13 or 14 shots against. He lit up one goal. And the one goal really wasn't on him. That was just like snipe. Not all of it is on Swayman, I'll be fair here. I think there's been some horrific defense being played by the Bruins early on the season.
AKA Zadorov.
And the walking turnstile. And I think...
Because I know you love it.
He's played a little bit better recently. But to me, when it comes down to it, it's not all in the goaltender, but still, Swayman's been getting caught off his angle far too much. He's been caught just off angle, actually, altogether. And last year, where he played with a really good aggressiveness to his game, I think his confidence looks shot. So now, instead of just challenging the shooter, he's either being overly aggressive in 2-on-1 situations where he shouldn't be, or he's being extremely passive because he has no confidence that he can make the save, that he's playing too deep, and the shot comes on him too quick.
Yeah.
I think when it comes down to it, I think the Bruins made the right decision by going with Swayman, knowing that, going forward, that Swayman's going to have a lot more years left in the tank in comparison to Ullmark. But I would say this, where the Bruins shot themselves in the foot, in my personal opinion, when that whole saga was getting played out, is why in the heck would you trade Ullmark before you had a deal finalized with Swayman?
Yeah.
That's where things, to me, got a little bit interesting. And I think it would have behooved the Bruins to just keep a guy like Ullmark.
Well, yeah.
That would have been a far better... I think that would have been a far better option, personally. I think that keeping both of them for 1 year, maybe, you let Ullmark walk after the year, because you're most likely not going to find a crazy return for a goaltender, which proved to be the case when they traded him for this year's first-round pick, who was Dean Letourneau, who's currently in Boston College, and he's 6'7" center. Like, maybe he could be something. He looks like a beast.
Yeah, he does.
And then they got Mark Kastelik, who, to be fair, wasn't really high on him coming over from the Boston Bruins, but he's a great fourth-line center.
Yep.
But does a fourth-line center equate to an elite-level goaltender? No. Like, I like Kastelik as a player. I just don't like the return that they got for Ullmark.
No. Considering
that he's one of the best goaltenders in the world.
Now.
And go ahead.
I brought this up to you before. Would you have traded Swayman to the Avs?
Yes, because it's a different conference, yes.
I think, I think that would have been I don't know what you'd have gotten back. I'm assuming they would have tried to, dump Georgiev on you, but you would have probably said no.
Or maybe they try to dump Georgie and then we ship him or waive him. But I think for me, when it comes down to it, I would have rather had, get the first round pick, that's great. And maybe, let's say Letourneau turns to be like a monster superstar. Then I'm like, okay, years later this deal looks fantastic, right? But at the same time, it's just you never know what's, like, the NHL draft's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
You don't know how these players are going to play out. You just don't.
Well, yeah, I mean...
And while a 6'7" center with good hands looks amazing on paper, does he translate to the next level? We just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and case in point, I mean, everybody celebrated. Everybody thought, dude, here we go. Connor Bedard part duh. But, that Michkov kid in Philadelphia has been fucking tearing it up, pardon my French.
Oh, dude, he's been so good.
He has been ripping it up.
So good. Dude, that guy's got an unreal release.
Yeah.
Now, Torts has given him a little bit of crap for his two-way game. But, I think, personally, a rookie's never going to have a perfect game.
No.
But there's also going to be players that just, dude, they're not going to be defensive stars. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take the 50 goals, right?
Yeah.
I'll take the 50 goals.
No, please don't
call it a day.
Scores 50, please, no.
That's where I'll take the offense where I get it.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's second on his team in scoring with 27 points. He's been absolutely brilliant. 11 goals, 16 assists for 27 with 33 games played. He was the 7th overall pick in 2023.
Yeah.
Like, the guy, he looks like he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
For a long time. I'm hoping that's the case, because There's actually a lot of good Russian players that got drafted lower because of the whole conflict, which I'm not going to get into on this channel.
No, we
But
don't do that. Well, and you also have that. You also have that worry about them already playing in the KHL and all that other stuff. There's all those other concerns.
yeah,
I mean,
like will they release him?
Drafting the dude from the KHL. I think guys from the KHL. I think a lot of them are looked as like crapshoots.
Yeah.
And they just happened to hit it on the money with this one.
Yeah. And I got to say though, Celebrini's also had a great rookie year though. I got to mention because he was taking.
I don't mean to. I'm not trying to slight him by any means, but I was just.
But he's a point per game, right? 25 games, 11 goals, 14 assists, or 25 points.
That's strong.
That's strong. Like
that's strong.
He's had so like in his last 5 games, he has 6 points. So he's been cooking recently. I just think we actually have a lot of good young talent in the NHL.
Yeah.
Really, if you think about it, there's a lot of good young hockey players that have come in and made quick impacts, to their team.
Yeah.
I think, Bedard isn't putting up McDavid numbers in 35 games played. He has 30 points. Overall, we have a lot of good young hockey players that.
I mean, when Connor McDavid got to Edmonton, though, I mean, how many first-round picks had Edmonton had after that point? They had Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Was Ryan Smith still on that team?
Was Ryan Smith still on that team? I
think he was. No,
I'm not too sure on.
I think he was with Colorado. I think he moved along to us.
Yeah,
but
I don't think he was there at that time.
You had like what? You had like 4 or 5 first-round draft picks, like top 5 picks on that team. That just either didn't pan out or like you said, they're crapshoots.
No, it's. I think when it comes to rookies overall, it's been pretty brilliant. There's been a lot of good young hockey players, and even second or third year guys that have just come in and done really, really well. I do actually kind of a random topic here, but I'll ask it. Who's the best tandem in the NHL? Like, who's the best 1-2 punch in the NHL? Because you have McKinnon, Brandon, Draisaitl, McDavid. Like,
who's a better question? Who's the next best after those 2 pairs?
Maybe Marner and Matthews, or you could say Kyle Connor and Scheifele. Because those guys are putting up great numbers. I'm just looking at it. I mean, you could even say more Marner and Nylander. There's some good tandems and good good pairs, like good star pairs together.
Yeah.
I mean, the best out of them.
I mean, where I'm
going
to go, so
upside,
I shut up.
With most upside, I would probably say Matthews and Marner, but I mean, then I look at Connor Scheifele. I didn't put a crazy number. Like, who do you think? Who would be after those 2 pairs?
After those 2, I might go a little off board to a team that I kind of despise.
Oh no.
Yeah. Hold on, kids. It's about to get rocky.
Oh no.
I might say. Now, does it have to be 2 forwards? It's going to be a forward and a defenseman.
No, it could be a forward. To be fair, no, it could be a forward and defenseman. That would have opened up my pairings a lot.
Okay,
I
would.
But yeah, you can do that.
Because I loathe them. I would say Kirill Kaprizov and Faber.
And they're 2 young guys too, actually.
Yeah, they're babies. They really haven't got the. We don't really know how good they are yet, and they're pretty darn good right now.
Yeah, Faber is I think he's gonna be really freaking good.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm probably gonna catch some heat for that, even though he's not. I mean, Faber overall isn't lighting the world on fire points. He's He's solid.
Well, he's good defensively. He's good defensively. To me, that's where, and we'll actually have that conversation afterward. But when it comes to Norris, I actually think that'd be a pretty solid tandem to grow. I mean, then you could really. What do you think of Stützle and that goaltender just disappeared into the ether? What do you think of Stützle and Tkachuk, Brady Tkachuk?
That's pretty solid. That. You know what? As for, I think I went more on potential with the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah.
But as far as like, even though Stützle is the diving machine. Overall, I mean, when he does play and he's not in that mode,
diving like the Olympics.
Yeah, he's really good. I mean,
yeah,
he's real good. And I mean, Brady's just Brady. I mean, he's.
I like the Tkachuk brothers, man. I'll say this. I like them. Like, they're the type of players that you would hate to have on your team, but love to have on your. Like, hate to have on. You would hate to face them, but love to have them on your own team.
Exactly.
Because I like the Tkachuk brothers personally.
Well, I mean,
and I was a fan of Keith Tkachuk. So,
I love Keith Tkachuk. I love Keith Tkachuk. Hated him, but loved his game. I mean, it's old time hockey. That's a cat that can score 40 goals, but then beat you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not afraid to go have a little punch in the face contest with you. Little rock'em sock'em robots.
Yeah, exactly. I think I do like the Tkachuk brothers quite a bit. I think that the antics can be a little bit much at times for some, and I get that, but you can't deny how good hockey players they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, real good.
Is it kind of weird to say this? Is it weird that I feel nepotism in hockey is one of the. I mean, nepotism in hockey is one of the few sports where it actually it works.
Yeah.
It
doesn't work in
basketball.
I'm
not saying all the time. But I do notice sons of NHL players be just as successful, if not more successful, than their than their fathers. In comparison, it is kind of funny because, in comparison, what's that kid's name? Bronny James and LeBron James. Yeah. And I know Bronny's he's a rookie, but it's he'll probably not be much the NBA level, or even hit the NBA level.
I mean, and there's the NBA. I mean, and the NHL has had guys that have been better than their dads for the most part. I mean, even Max Domi's better. Would you say Max Domi's better than his dad?
Oh yeah.
See,
that's not even a question.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because I still every time I got a lot of basketball guys at my work, and that's what they talk most of the time. And I brought up Seth Jones, and they were like, "Oh yeah, who's that?" I was like, "You remember Popeye Jones?" They're like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, this kid plays hockey." And it was I said the moon was made of cheese.
That's funny.
Yeah, but no, yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. It's just a lot of kids, grow up around their dads and just, are in the, see everything. So, when they do make it to the show, none of it's really a surprise.
Yeah. I mean, it's true.
None of it's really a surprise. I mean, a lot of these kids whose dads have grown up in hockey, they're like, okay, they know what the deal is. They understand the locker room. They have a grasp of the culture going in.
Right.
And they're, just not being idiots. They know they got to put the work in and win the cup, and that's what it's about.
Do you kind of switching gears here for a second? What do you think of the Norris Trophy, and do you believe it's even the best defenseman that wins it anymore?
I like it, but I don't even know if it's the best of it. When oh god, no, I'm probably just gonna get completely crapped up by anybody that listens to this. Defenseman for the Detroit Red Wings, Nick Lidstrom. When he won it, when he was winning, it seemed like he was won the Norris Trophy. That's when it was more for all-around defensemen, not so much. And it seems like in the past maybe 15, 20 years, it's kind of slipped away from that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I like that, I understand while Kale McCarr is in it. He's an offensive, just anomaly for the
Yeah, but
blue
he's
line.
also good defensively.
He's good, but he's not great.
Yeah, he's not great. He's not
He's
like
not
a
great. He's not somebody that's going to shut you down. I love him to death. I mean, I'm so happy he's on my team. It's just ridiculous. His offensive skills are off the chart, but he's good. He's not a liability. He's good, but he's not just shut down. Say goodnight to the best forward on the other team.
right.
And I think it's become more an offensive defenseman award. Because like, when was the last time I'd have to look it up, but when was the last time a guy won the Norris who wasn't leading the league in points?
It's been a while.
Uh-huh.
Or leading defenseman in points. Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, to me, and I'm gonna get flames for this. When Adam Fox won, didn't he win a Norris? Right?
I think he did 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's when I knew it wasn't about the best defenseman. And I've known a little bit before that, but like Adam Fox defensively was not great.
Oh.
In my watching him play. So
I'd really make a lot of Ranger fans, man, say he's Cale McCarr light.
Damn. I think unless you get into more of the advanced metrics of hockey, right? Defensive metrics, like the analytics, it would be very hard to figure out an award
based on, just defensive stats. Which is, and it's not, and the whole thing is I know they're trying to grow the game, but a defensive defenseman isn't as glamorous as a defensive, as a defenseman that's putting up, 80, 90, 100 points.
Right.
For me, a guy that could just lock somebody up, hypothetically a defenseman, is able to, put the handcuffs on McDavid and Cannon and Pasternak and, Matthews, I would be 100 impressed. I don't care if the dude puts up 30 points. He puts up 10 goals and 20 assists. If you got a guy that can lock somebody down like that, because, unfortunately, I really like this guy as a defenseman. He's never going to win a Norris, though, but Chris Tanev.
Yeah.
I mean, he is... When the Stars got him last year, I, just was like, oh, God. Really? Because they're already a pretty strong team, and then you're going to add that to it? Really? Like, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just, the Norris is kind of, it's the, hey, I got the most points this year award. So it's kind of, I don't want to say it's cheapened, but it's just, it doesn't, to me, it's lost its luster. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Not the same. Not the same.
No, I would agree.
So,
I would definitely agree.
I have a question for you. Who do you have in the conference championships in the East and the West in 6 months?
I picked the Devils to come out of the East.
Really?
Because I think that they have good goaltending now. And I think that if healthy, because they had a lot of injuries last year.
Yeah, they did.
They have all the talent in the world to be one of the best teams of the Eastern Conference. So I would pick the Devils to come out of the Eastern Conference.
Who would they play, though, in the Eastern Conference Finals?
In the Eastern Conference Finals? To me, Florida's one of those teams, I think.
I'd actually sign up for a 7-game series of that. I think that'd be a pretty good dogfight.
Yeah, I think Florida's the team that has all the pieces to just repeat. They have the goaltending, they have the physicality, they have the stars, they have Barkov, Reinhart. who they signed to a deal in the offseason, is having a phenomenal year again. Yeah, I just think Florida's got all the pieces to come out of the East. And outside of Florida, I mean, Washington's had a really nice story, like PLD and Strome have been really good 1-2 punch down the middle. He's had really good year. I think it's most likely gonna be a team like Florida versus the Devils, and then who do I take in that series? That would be a knock 'em down, beat 'em up series. I wouldn't even be. It wouldn't be crazy to see the Panthers go back to the Stanley Cup Finals.
No, and that's
but it's hard to keep going back and back like it's long seasons.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because think about it. They went on that big run against the Knights. Then they went back and they won it. It's a long road.
Yeah, it's arduous. My word.
So I think I wouldn't be surprised to see the Devils out of the East.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, but Florida's put up a fight. I mean, what about and for my Western Conference save, the Western Conference Finals against each other, two teams. I think the Knights.
Yep.
Just because of the style in which they're built.
Yep. They're built for it.
And then the Central gets interesting, right? Because you have the Avalanche ascending. You have Minnesota having a great year. Winnipeg's having a fantastic year.
Don't forget about Stars.
The Stars have had a very good year. It'd be interesting, but I think if I had to pick two, it'd probably be the Knights and in Colorado. And then if I'm going to say a team that wins that series, kind of comes down to me, the goaltending. I do think this is a year where you could see the Avalanche go back.
I mean, from your lips to the hockey god's ears, my friend.
With Blackwood and Net, I firmly believe that they have solved their situation. And if they can add another piece, not a huge piece, but a minor defensive piece, I think they're one of the best teams in the NHL.
Well, if you told me right now that we would have a Colorado Devils Stanley Cup final, I would do a jig because I hate the Devils like I hate Montreal and Detroit. Loathe them with every fiber of my bleeping being. And to beat them again for a Stanley Cup, chef's kiss, my friend. Chef's kiss.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'll be kind of in that spot that they'll be able to.
Now,
I think that is. What about you? Who's your pick? Who's your pick to go to the conference finals?
I'm going. Actually, you nailed what I was pretty much thinking from the East. Now, the West, this is probably not going to be very popular. I think you're going to have two Pacific teams.
Really?
Only reason is because the Central are going to eat themselves. They are going to beat the snot out of each other. Between, Winnipeg, Colorado, Minnesota, Dallas. That's four teams that all could go to the Cup. And if a team makes it out of the Central, it's the team that can weather that storm the best. And then you got to still, St. Louis is still kind of lurking in the background there, and they're not an easy out. Especially since
the addition of Montgomery got brought in.
Yeah. And they've been playing pretty solid hockey since then, so they could make a run at it. And I just think, it is just going to be, an old-fashioned knife fight for the Central. I think they're going to beat the crap out of each other because every point for that Central is going to be so important. And unfortunately, I think who wins the Central is either going to win it all or just go out in the first round.
Yeah.
That's because it's just odd. That's just like I think I hope that my guys can somehow weather the storm, but God, it's so hard. And would you say that the Central is the toughest division in hockey?
The Central,
If not,
no, because
really?
they got some. I don't think that, because you have the Blackhawks and the Predators in it. That, like, I just hate to say it that way.
No,
When you have those
type,
when you have those two teams in there, right? I don't think I can even justify saying they're the toughest conference. But actually, funny enough, I'm actually going to be doing an Avs versus New Jersey in the background because the World of Shell just crashed.
Nice.
But I think when
Thanks,
it comes
World of
down
Shell.
to it, the the toughest division, if I was to say that, probably would be. Man, this is actually kind of a tough one. You know, actually, it's crazy because I said because they have cupcake teams, but every couple division has that.
Mm-hmm.
The Anaheim, San Jose for the Pacific.
Yeah.
And the Metro, the Islanders and the Rangers. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm gonna get some I'm gonna get some planes for that one, but they're statistically one of the worst teams.
Well, you know what? Play
and
better.
Then Buffalo and Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could make the I think you would probably say the Metro is the most complete division. Yeah, I would say probably the Metro.
Okay.
Is the most complete, like complete up and down 1 through 8.
So
McKinnon just scored, so there you go. You're welcome.
There you go. My only argument for that is I don't know of a division where 4 teams could be potential cup contenders.
Okay, let's do that, right? So in the Atlantic, you have Florida.
Mm-hmm. Contender.
And that's it. That's gonna make some Toronto and. I'm a Bruins fan. Bruins fans may be upset, but I just don't. I don't think any other of these teams are cup contenders. So Florida, so 1.
Yeah.
In the Metro, there's New Jersey. I still believe in Carolina, even though like they've had a pretty good year. They're 3rd. Washington, I'm just not really sure of if they're going to maintain it.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe 2 in the Metro.
Yeah.
In the Central, you have Winnipeg.
Dallas.
I don't really believe that was a top contender, but you have Winnipeg, Minnesota, Columbus, Dallas, who you could all justify as cup contenders, right?
Yeah.
And then in the Pacific, you have the Knights,
Vancouver.
the Oilers, the Kings, and the Vancouver. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, in the West, you could have 4 teams that you could say cup contender, but I don't know. It's like a team that I truly believe that would be like a true cup contender. For me, it would just be Colorado and Dallas in the Central. And then for me in the Pacific would be Vegas and, just out of respect, the Oilers.
Yeah.
But mind you, I'm being honest. I don't believe in the goaltending. But they showed last year they made the big deep run. So I'm just trying to show a little bit of respect. But do I really think that they're the best team? Like, do I really think that they're a Stanley Cup final contender in the aspect that they're a complete team? No. Even as I bumble over my words like a drunk. So I mean, who would be your cup contenders in each division?
Pretty much what you nailed. I mean, I know it's kind of a cop out, but yeah, it'd be the Devils, and that's pretty much it. And Carolina, maybe. Carolina, it's like the Devils are 1, Carolina's 2, but not a strong 2. And then in the Florida, I mean, those are your 3 teams, really.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm kind of in my own head going, God, what am I saying? Because I looked at the Western Conference standings, and I didn't think it was that strong. I didn't think anything looked that strong. But then I realized it's probably stronger than I think because they're all knocking the snot out of each other.
Yeah.
No,
fair enough.
Because you don't know. I mean, I'm still going to say, until proven otherwise, even though I have a buddy of mine at work who's a Minnesota Wild fan, and he was just like, he says, we're having a great season, but we're all going to, he goes, we're going to spit the bit, the first round of the playoffs.
That's great.
Yes. And so, and I think Winnipeg and Minnesota are kind of the same shoes.
Yeah, they got to kind of prove it to me.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They got to prove it to me that they can do it in the playoffs.
Dallas is, I don't know, Dallas just morphs into this horrific monster whenever it comes to the playoffs. Because you get dudes that don't usually score that score.
Yeah.
Rupe Hintz is always in one of my fantasy league teams. Because that dude just scores.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's not a great player. He probably, averages maybe 50, 60, 70 points a season, which is solid.
I think Rope Hintz, don't slander Rope Hintz. I think he does better than that. Hold on. Now I got to check. Because Rope Hintz statistically, I might just have to... Let me check the math on that.
Check me real quick. I'm down.
Back check you.
No,
so 32 games played is 21 points, 15 goals.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me fact check though. Last year, 65 points in 80 games, 75 in 73 games played. The year before that, 72. So as high as
70 points.
So he was over a point per game, but he's around a 60, 70, more like a 70. Yeah, 60, 70 point guy. You were right. I just thought maybe he was a little bit higher than that. Maybe I'm mixing him up with someone.
But the whole thing though, and then he's a solid player. He's gonna get he's gonna be a good guy. He's a good team guy. He's gonna fucking put the pucks in the net, get the helpers, all that stuff. But all of a sudden, it's like the minute the playoffs start, he becomes just this other, just like a honey badger, just angry, and every time I would, whenever the Avs would play the Stars, it was just like, God, how did he get 2 goals? Where'd that come from? He'd end up the series have 10, 12 points in a 5-6 game series. What the hell was this?
Well, the leading leading point scorer on is that Stars is?
Don't say Stankoven.
It's Matt Duchene.
Oh, I know.
30 points, 33 games played. Good year.
Good year.
Favorite year? One of your favorite players?
I liked him when he was on the Avs. It was just he had moments of dude. I think he'd lost his way from the flock, and that's why one of the reasons he had to go.
Yeah, that's why they moved him.
Yeah, we got Sammy G, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe so in that deal.
Yeah, I think we got Gerard. No, wait, God, that was a long time ago. Thanks for making me feel old on a Thursday morning. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, dude. Absolutely, no problem. Every day, all day. No worries. So, okay. We'll do kind of a final subject matter, because that should be going well.
Yeah.
No Agenda Hockey Podcast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you don't like freedom. I don't know.
If you don't like freedom, Boxing Day today is in Canada. See you later.
We're going to have to talk about it. The Rangers.
Ugh.
Right? So, the New York Rangers, they've been moving pieces. They obviously, before the season, they got rid of Gaudreau. Moved him to, San Jose?
Yeah.
Or was that the year before? No, but yeah, they moved Gaudreau. They trade Jacob Trouba, their captain, to the Anaheim Ducks. Not the Mighty Ducks, just the Ducks.
Yeah.
And then they trade Kakko.
First uniform in hockey. Sorry.
When it was the maroon or green, I thought they looked cool. But now, I don't like the orange, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah. But then they got, they traded Kakko, the guy that was a high pick in the draft.
Yeah.
He's not that old. They're changing things up. They signed Shesterkin to that massive deal.
Good on him. Good ticket.
Are the Rangers... can't put it elsewhere. Are the Rangers fucked? Because they're one of the worst teams in the NHL right now. They are. They're one of the worst teams. And considering you have a lineup with Panarin, Trocheck, Zibanejad, Kreider, right?
Lafreniere. Yeah, I can't say his name.
Lafreniere. Hedl is supposed to be pretty steady. You have Adam Fox on defense. You have Lindgren back.
Mm-hmm.
Keandre Miller, he's been out. He'll hopefully be back soon. But to me, is this team savable? Or do they need to blow up the whole damn thing?
I don't think they need to blow it up. I don't. Whatever Laviolette's doing, I don't think he ever got. I don't know if he ever got the actual chance to get the locker room.
Yeah.
I mean, they had that great. They were 12-4-1 the first 15, 16 games, something like that.
Yeah.
And then apparently the new car smell wore off, and everything just went to hell in a handbasket with gasoline pants.
Yeah.
And then because I guess Kreider's also on the table to be dealt too.
Yeah.
There's that as well.
To be fired off into the sun and jettisoned. He's been struggling.
I think Kreider's one of those guys though that if he got an opportunity somewhere else, I still think he needs to go to you guys. Just come home. Yeah, come home right off into the sunset. He went to BC. Had a great career at Boston College. He's a hometown kid. You never know. I mean, because I don't know when his ticket's up, if it's this year or next.
I mean, he's only 33.
Yeah.
Right?
You sign him for 3.
34. You sign him for a few years, but to me, when it comes to Kreider, he's a guy that, to me, he's not a superstar. He's kind of like a borderline all-star type guy.
Yeah.
He's known for scoring in front of the net. He's great with his hand-eye coordination. He has phenomenal hand-eye coordination. That's a guy that I think most teams would like to have.
Yeah.
This year, 30 games played, 11 goals, just 1 assist for 12 points.
I'm going to make it look like I actually know what I'm talking about for like 10, 15 seconds. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, uh-oh is correct. You are not wrong for saying that. I think he's huge for you guys because your power play has been atrocious.
Oh, it's awful.
Your power play has been a veritable dumpster fire. To get him down low on, even if it's not on the first power play, if it's on the second one, stick him down there and just, let him do his thing. Have whoever you're going to have put shots on whoever's on your. I'm not even sure who's on your second line power play, but have.
It's been a mixture of guys. Yeah. They put Geeky in there. They put Brazeau's in there. Brazeau I actually like. To be fair, they got an East Coast League. He's actually played really great as a third.
He has been pretty
guy.
good.
But
yeah, but I mean, I think if you guys can say, I don't know how you work a cap or anything like that, but if you somehow could acquire him, I think he would be huge for your power play.
I don't disagree. The problem is with the Bruins. So like Kreider's contract is, and he's been a healthy scratch. Yeah, 6.5. He's been a healthy scratch. He's got 2 years left on that deal, right? So what would probably have to happen for it to work for the Boston Bruins? They have 0 cap spaces. We'd have to deal out like a $3.25 million type contract, and then just have the Rangers retain half.
Yeah.
Which the Rangers could because now they have a lot of cap space available.
Yeah, with Troubadour.
But would they be honestly would they be willing to do that? Probably not.
No, I mean,
because the Bruins have 1.8 million available in cap space.
So you'd have to deal somebody right around the $2 million range.
Yeah, so you'd have to deal somebody with a $2 million range, which, who is that, right? Do you trade, you could trade Trent Frederick, who's 2.3, and you could make that,
And you know what? The Rangers might take Frederick. A little grit on the bottom end.
Yeah.
Because, with, Rempe doing Rempe things, Frederick's got grit. And he could, he can contribute offensively.
Yeah.
If I bet you could probably pull it off with Frederick, maybe a mid-round draft pick.
A draft pick, yeah.
And half the salary. You know what? You maybe that deal might be able to swing it. And then Kreider comes home, and rides off in the sunset with you guys. And who knows? Maybe you guys somewhere in the next 2-3 years steal a cup.
I mean, we'll see. That'd be a dream for me.
No, I know it would.
I think when it comes down to it, I wouldn't mind the Bruins getting Kreider if they didn't give up too much. Like, I wouldn't want them to give up like a first-round pick for Kreider.
Yeah, I think
at this point in his career,
I think the best they would hope for is a second-round pick and like Frederick. I think you might be overpaying a little bit there, but you're still. But then again, you don't want to get eaten half the salary.
Well, I'm not a big Trent Frederick guy, so I just say jettison him into the sun for Kreider personally. But I think Frederick's okay, right? I don't think he's anything special. I think he's a third, fourth line guy. But the Rangers could look at it as, hey, that's a guy that's in his 20s. They'd probably be able to retain him for a reasonable price. He's a quality third line guy. With the Bruins, you get a guy in Kreider that maybe you get a couple years of pretty good talent. Where,
maybe
he could be in a top 6.
Yeah, he's definitely he's not going to be on your first line. More likely he would actually anchor your second line.
Yeah. Which the Bruins would need.
Yeah, and he's going to give you solid minutes. He's got the grit.
Yeah, I like Kreider's game. The cap hits a lot. That's the only thing. It is a lot.
And who knows? Once he's done with the last 2 years of his contract, say, listen, here it is, hometown deal, right off into the sunset.
God, if we had him on the power play and we just told our defenseman to shoot.
Yeah, that's all, dude. That's all you need. Dude, you just umbrella that. You get. Yeah. You get your 3 guys up top, even 4, just stuck him down there and just let him wreak havoc.
Yeah.
Yeah,
listen, I don't think he lost a million steps with Kreider. I think he could be a solid second liner.
I think he could be a very solid second liner. And who knows, might be one of these deals where, hey, he's home, has a bit of a resurgence, kind of flirts with 25, 30 goals. Like, I know you would be over the moon with that.
No, absolutely. No, I'm very, reasonable. Kreider, and so he had 50 plus goals 3 seasons ago. The season before that, 36. Last season, I think 39. Or I might be twisting those around, but he's been a plus 30 guy, goal guy, and last 3 seasons. Get him over here and have him sit in front of the net and just deflect pucks crazy. It worked. It's an effective game.
Yeah. 100%.
And he's a playoff type player that you would like to have in your arm. He's got his jam.
Well, even this is the 2 years before, I want to say it was 20, when the Avs got Kadri. I wanted Kreider instead of Kadri.
Really?
Oh God, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I even got my super nerd on. I called the NHL Network on Sirius and told them that, and they were like, "Oh." I'm like, right? Kreider on that team instead of Kadri? Shoot, he would have flourished.
Yeah, no, Kreider. I actually would say that would have been a disgusting. That would have been disgusting. Kadri helped win them something, but it's.
But that because technically that first line would have been McKinnon, Landeskog, and Kreider.
Oh, Jesus.
Right? Right? Or, even you bump Gabe down to the second line, it was Mikko, McKinnon, and Kreider. That's even worse.
That is. That would actually have been a great line.
Dude, that would have been a sick line. And that was just but they signed Kadri, which I was never really overly crazy about because I thought he was a moron. He did help us win a cup.
Effective for him. Helped to win a cup.
Yeah. And he was the anti-Binnington device.
Yeah, he definitely. I think everybody's the anti-Binnington device when it comes to his temperament.
Oh, that dude. I mean, he could be a good goalie, but God, he's a muppet.
You know what's funny? I watched him when he was on loan to the Providence Bruins. I watched him live. He was a good goalie.
He's a good goalie.
So but yeah, the temperament stuff is it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of, he might have been, he's one of those guys that I think is in the wrong era. Now, if he'd have been in the 70s, he'd have been great.
Oh yeah. No, people would have loved him because he would have been taking people's heads off.
Exactly. Imagine him like on the Broad Street Bullies, the Flyers, like the early 70s. He would have been great. He would have been the best.
My God. They would have loved him.
They would have loved him. He would have loved it too. He's like, I gotta go throw the, he's every third or fourth game I gotta drop the gloves. Hell yeah.
That's pretty funny. So I think we'll kind of wrap this up. It's been a good it's been a good actual episode.
Yeah.
I mean, how long has this been? This has been about an hour.
Oh, Jesus.
Pause that.
Okay.
About an hour, yeah. So
we're not going to go Joe Rogan and go a 9-hour podcast, thank God.
I mean, now if we could get the Rogan viewership,
dude. Okay, hold on.
And Nico, he sure scored the OT winner as soon as we're wrapping this up.
Nice.
So I think against the Avalanche, it's nice Blackwood blocker side. But if you guys enjoyed this podcast, me and Chief are planning on bringing this like every week, and
or at least
maybe just kind of or at least every other week, trying to bring it in this format. I'm having something play in the backdrop, or might figure something up to do some like camera in person. We'll see about that, but
easy.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Anything you got to say before we get out of here, Chief?
Negative. Thanks for listening, guys. Like and subscribe to my homie's channel, and hope you have a great holiday, everybody.
Oh, that's actually good. I hope you guys all had a great Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, whatever
Sol
creed,
Invictus.
Whatever you do.
Merry Solstice. Happy Spaghetti Monster.
Probably won't have an episode up before the New Year's, so hope you guys have a good New Year's. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Peace out, Cub Scouts.